morning, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show, we have Predict the Outcome for In Your House. In Your House, the second installment of NXT Takeover. Yes, In Your House coming up with the Pro Wrestling Show. Discuss match previews and match predictions for In Your House. Plus, also here on the Pro Wrestling Show, we'll have hot topics of the week on hot topics of wrestling. As Triple H puts his mouth in again for saying something that the pro wrestling in that wrestling community got on him about. You won't believe what it's all about women's wrestling. And Mickie James makes a surprise appearance for the NWA as she makes a groundbreaking experience, which ties into Triple H's saying on what he said. All this and more when the Pro Wrestling Show presents Predict the Outcome for WWE NXT Takeover In Your House. Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host as always, Ken Dix here. Glad you can join us here, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Pro Wrestling Show, as we always do our Predict the Outcome special for WWE NXT Takeover In Your House. In Your House comes your way from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida. And they said it's supposed to be more fans than ever before since everything is about to open back up again. The pandemic is about to phase out and we're about to get back to normal. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Yes, we are back. We are back indeed. Never in, with the pandemic coming out of it, we're coming back swinging. WWE finna start doing live events. AEW about to do live events. Wrestling is about to, other wrestling organizations are about to do live events. And so, hey, Pro Wrestling Show wanted to feel the need to get back on the ground here, show you what's going on with the world of pro wrestling. Well, let's get started with the NXT Takeover Predict the Outcome here on the Pro Wrestling Show here on Connect TV. All right, let's get started with this. Now we know that La Familia, Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Rago Mendoza, especially Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar coming out the heels of not regaining the Cruiserweight Championship. Now he turns his sights on Bronson Reed's North American Championship. Well, Bronson Reed got help of his new allies, MSK, the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Well, they got their hands full. But this past week, MSK came out and helped the aid of Bronson Reed after Santos Escobar saying he wants to be North American champion. He has his sights on the North American title. Well, Santos Escobar and family, I like to call La Familia, they put out a challenge to say, hey, Bronson Reed, you and MSK, you put your goals on the line. So it's going to be a huge 6-man tag team match from NXT as Santos Escobar teams up with his stablemates, Raquel Martinez and Joaquin Wilder, to take on the team of MSK and Bronson Reed for the North American and NXT Tag Team title. So it's a title, well, winner take all. Yeah, because they're the ones with the titles. Mendoza and Santos Escobar and Wilder. So look for the team of La Familia and Santos Escobar becoming the new NXT Tag Team Champions and North American Champion. I'll be shocked if they don't do it. It'll probably be coming around another takeover. But look for them to win it. Hopefully. I hope they do. Lord, if they don't, hey, it's just too early to count. Speaking of early to count, Mercedes Martinez has unfinished business with Xia Li. They said they've been wrestling each other for a long time. Now they bring their rivalry to NXT. This bad blood between these two women escalated this past week on NXT when both women was trying to slug each other for just No apparent reason. But they gonna go at it and go fight for it. Look for Mercedes Martinez to win this match and prove that she the baddest, you know what, in NXT. Look for that. Also, too, Raquel Gonzalez defends her NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon. Well, Raquel Gonzalez will have Dakota Kai in her corner, as well as Ember Moon will have Shotzi Blackheart. This is just bad blood between these two women. They've been, with Shotzi Blackheart and Dakota Kai been in a tag team match, a singles match, so it's going to escalate to that. So looking for Raquel Gonzalez to retain her NXT Women's title. All right, that's the first half of the NXT In Your House Takeover 2021. We'll have the second half later on. But coming up next here on the Pro Wrestling Show, we will talk about wrestling hot topics. We're going to talk about Triple H putting his foot in his mouth about women's wrestling, and Mickie James makes her return to a new promotion. All this and more when the Pro Wrestling Show returns after this. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kid Diggs here. Glad you can join us in the Pro Wrestling Show as we'll get to Predict the Outcome, the second half of Predict the Outcome, where the championship matches and somewhat of a personal grudge match / new championship that we'll get into later on. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. That's why pro wrestling matters, and we make it for you because it matters. All right, let's get to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics this week, Triple H held a conference call about NXT TakeOver in your house, and one of the pro wrestling journalists asked Triple H the question, why hasn't WWE produced another women's wrestling event since Evolution? Well, Triple H elaborated and said this.
Haven't we already done them? It's a funny thing to me. I just don't. So equality is equality. Equality is not, I want my own show. Equality is not, we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all-men's program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think it's funny when people go, I want the best in the world regardless of contractual status. Well, I'm sorry, from a business person standpoint, then why do we have contractual status? Right? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to wrestle the best women in the world, come to the WWE. That's where they are. If you want to go elsewhere and say that they are, that's an opinion. And you can. But it is what it is. And I, while I'm all for it, I was one of the biggest drivers of it. And will we do another all-women's event down the line? But possibly. But, it's not the must-have in the moment. I think we do an amazing job of displaying our female athletes. And is it perfect? No. Will it always be in flux? Yes. But I think we do a pretty good job. And my opinion, and again, my opinion, the best female performers in the world are in WWE, and if they're not, they want to be.
Now this drew.
Yes, the game said that not at the moment, but we're trying to say something about all men's. If he did that, they would criticize him about all men's event. But he said women and men are incorporated. People was clamoring about Evolution, the first one, and a lot of people said, the sources said that WWE said the Evolution didn't do so well, but It was a historic event. All the women came out there, but WWE kind of trying to double down on what they're saying, especially Triple H. And a lot of the women wrestlers got offended and saying, "Oh, you're trying to say that WWE is the only place where women wrestlers are the best, but it's women all over the world." Like AEW, Britt Baker is the women's champion. Thunder Rosa. It's a lot. NWA, Camille. What's her name? Who was in the NWA? She was the NWA women's champion. Sienna. A lot of people was in it. Thunder Rosa even made a comment about it on right here. You see, she believes that women wrestlers, WWE is not the only place. And she's right. WWE is not the only place where women wrestlers can get their niche in and be the best. There are some of the best, but they're not the best. Like Sasha Banks is one of the best. Charlotte, Becky Lynch when she returned, Asuka, Natalya. It's a whole list of people you can think of. Bianca Belair, the SmackDown Women's Champion. Bayley. So it's a list of women. He's a little bit right, but he's a little bit got to be a little bit more on the picture on a broader scale. Like he could have just be more. He was trying to be more politically correct, trying to say that, but he could have just said, "We're one of the best. We're not the best. We're one of the best," and he could have just left it like that. And he just dug a hornet's nest for himself once again. You can tell Triple H was mad, irritated. So hey, what they say, you put your foot in your mouth, you got to deal with it. Speaking of that, Mickie James, who is still got released a couple of months ago from WWE, waiting for her non-complete cause to end. But Mickie James made a stunning announcement appearance on the NWA Power. She sat aside Billy Corgan and saying that they're going to create the first ever NWA All Women's Pay-Per-View coming this August in St. Louis. And they're going to call it NWA Empower. And Mickie James will serve as the executive producer. We don't know if she's going to wrestle. 9 times out of 10, she's going to wrestle. But Mickie James was a vocal supporter when she was in WWE about them doing the all women's show, and WWE wasn't interested. So Mickie James took upon herself. So she's trying to get the NWA to partner up with and do this thing. And you know, the NWA got some couple of women. They got Camille, you got Melina, you got Mickie James when they come up there. Taryn Terrell. So you got a host of women, you know, that knows what they're doing. So WWE got to trying to be politically correct. So they got to get everything going and stuff. So hopefully, no, there you go. So hopefully with that. Okay. Speaking of that, now they're talking about Roman Reigns might get a surprise his SummerSlam opponent. They're saying Roman Reigns might go against John Cena at SummerSlam. There's rumor right now. So Roman Reigns and John Cena to meet at SummerSlam. That's going to be a hell of a match. If they do happen at SummerSlam, we'll have to wait and see. Roman versus Cena at SummerSlam. That could be the biggest draw. And then they're talking about SummerSlam to be big up like with WrestleMania. So, hey, it is possible. Also, too, there's been reports after SummerSlam that the WWE Draft will return to shake things up, to give you new storylines, refreshing the roster. So, we could see the WWE Draft coming soon and shortly. So, hey. Also, too, WWE in the talks to bring back Aleister Black. Yes, Aleister Black was one of those recently released stars. Aleister Black, he was about to be into a program with Big E, and hopefully, if he do come back, he can probably be back in that program with Big E, and they could say, you know what, use the storyline they had. You just say Aleister Black can blame Big E for releasing him, for WWE releasing him, and he came back on his own accord to prove to the company and prove to Big E. That makes sense. You know, that right there. I gave them a storyline. right there. So if Aleister Black do come back, how would all that come about with it? But we just have to wait and see. But that's a good storyline right there. Aleister Black blames the company and blames Big E for his release. Also, too, CWL Championship Wrestling from Hollywood now makes a new venture. They're going to be in Atlanta. They secured a stage theater for a new United Wrestling series. So Championship Wrestling from Atlanta is coming. So they're doing one in Memphis, Atlanta, Gulf Coast, what else? Arizona and California. So they're expanding like the NWA used to do way back when. There we go. Also, too, Leo Rush retires from wrestling. Leo Rush says that he doesn't feel the need to wrestle no more because of a recent injury. But he will do his New Japan commitments and he's done. He wants to be able to hold his son. So Leo Rush wants to hold his son. He got other sons as well. So a lot of people ain't buying it, especially SmackDown ring announcer Greg Hamill, saying that Leo Rush is just making a dramatic exit and he'll try to come back. So there you go. Also, too, Braun Strowman, he's been recently released from WWE. WWE might bring him back ever sooner than later. Well, Braun Strowman, a lot of the wrestling indie promoters saying it's going to be impossible to get Braun Strowman because Braun Strowman has asked for a 6-figure deal, $100,000 appearance to either wrestle or make an appearance. If I had the money and I had more than $100,000, why not? For promotion. But Braun Strowman, that's a bit steep. But it's a little steep because of Braun Strowman, who he is. And it's saying that he's financially set because of WWE, because of that. Braun was making at WWE roughly $1.2 million. So he was financially set being a giant. So there you go. But could we see Braun Strowman come at WWE? Who knows? Also, too, Peacock. Peacock launches a Smart Sun TV. And so Peacock will be added to Smart Sun TV app. If you got a Smart Sun TV, with Peacock, watch WWE. Also, too, they've been reports Jackson Rocker will be set to be booked as a babyface. Jackson Rocker, who had his little feud with Elias. Now him and Elias are no longer tag team. Now Jackson Rocker want to do it on his own. And you saw that new little buzz cut he had. Oh, there you go. Also, too, Matt Cardona, he wants to take on that dude from the Dark Side of the Ring. So if that happens, it happens. So, hey, Nick Cage, he wants to take on Nick Cage. And Nick Cage's world, Matt Cardona trying to be a little bit different, a little bit edgier than he was in WWE with the Zack Ryder gimmick. Now he wants to explore his own gimmick going forward. And finally, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, who was last appearance at WrestleMania when he lost to Randy Orton. Bray Wyatt now, a lot of people said WWE's kept him off television because they don't have nothing for him to do. I guess when they missed the boat with Randy Orton, pinned him and got the win. Randy Orton didn't need that win. Bray Wyatt needed that win, but then that's why Alexa Bliss came involved. So when we see Alexa Bliss, I think what they're gonna do is Alexa Bliss gonna be way out of control, and the Fiend gonna have to come in and stop. That's what it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be booked. I'm telling you right now. Even with that crazy stuff with Alexa Bliss with Lily and Shayna Baszler gonna turn into Lily. Watch her tell you. All right, that ends the wrestling hot topics. Let's move over to the second half. The second half of our predicted outcome for WWE NXT Takeover in your house. All right. Now, one of the matches that I'm interested in seeing is for Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight, who's known as Eli Drake. Well, Cameron Grimes has been bolstering and having this $1 million man gimmick on NXT. Well, he said he won it through the recent controversy where the stock market went up for GameStop and he got rich from that. Well, Cameron Grimes got outbid, outmatched, outdubious by the own $1 million man Ted DiBiase, the WWE Hall of Famer, made his recent appearance on NXT. Well, Ted DiBiase been playing a lot of shenanigans on Cameron Grimes. Now, Ted DiBiase thought he found his man in LA Knight when LA Knight got involved. LA Knight just got involved for his personal gain because he was trying to impress Ted DiBiase. Well, and Ted DiBiase now has upped the ante, upped the stakes. Ted DiBiase says now, this past week, the priceless announcement. He had a face-to-face with Cameron Grimes, had a face-to-face with LA Knight. So DiBiase has now upped the ante that it will be a ladder match. But not only it will be a ladder match, what they're going for is the very own classic, vintage, $1 million championship. Yes, the $1 million championship was introduced by Ted DiBiase on the Brother Love show way back in February 14, 1989. So that's like, I'm a couple of days older than the $1 million championship. We share the same birthday in the same month, in the same year. And a lot of greats held that $1 million championship, not only like DiBiase, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, Virgil, and DiBiase's own son, Junior. Well, it's another man. It's two men that's vying to be the next man in line, being that fifth man to be the $1 million champion. Will it be Cameron Grimes, who's been personifying the gimmick and winning as a babyface? But first he was a heel, but he was turned to a babyface. Or will it be LA Knight, who really needs it? I'm thinking LA Knight will be the next $1 million champion. Mark my words. LA Knight will do it, and he would become the next $1 million champion. Like they say, LA Knight has $1 million look, $1 million body, and could be the $1 million champion, leaving NXT in your house takeover. So look for LA Knight to win the $1 million title. Cameron Grimes, he ain't gonna win it, but I'm not trying to knock him, but he needs. I'm really impressed by Cameron Grimes now because when he first started, he was in Impact. He really was just a wrestling gimmick. Really thought he had no personality, but now NXT has brought him out a personality. He has flourished. That's what it's all about. Cameron Grimes, he's going to be a champion, but he's not going to be the $1 million champion. LA Knight needs it more. He needs that new reputation. So look for LA Knight to win the $1 million title. And finally, the main event for the NXT championship. As champion, the dominant champion, Karrion Kross, defends his championship in a fatal 5-way match where challengers such as Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, and Johnny Gargano compete for the NXT title. Now we know the only people who has championship spears is Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Adam Cole has been causing a ruckus throughout the NXT championship picture, even with Karrion Kross trying to maintain his control, maintain his composure. Well, we know that Pete Dunne is a serious wrestler. He could be NXT champion if he wants to, if he stopped playing. Kyle O'Reilly, he's going to get there, but I guess he's trying to be the Orange Cassidy of NXT, how that occur. And Adam Cole, who's been the breakout star in this match. I don't know. It's tough to say. Look for Adam Cole. He's the man. Adam Cole, and I did not Karrion Kross, but Adam Cole, he's been dominating ever since. It should have been Cole versus Kross, but they added the other three just for namesake. I guess what Dave Meltzer said that trying to hide Kross's inexperience a little bit, but I don't think he got experience. won the NXT title last year around this time, so never know. So look for Adam Cole to leave NXT Takeover in your house with the NXT Gold. All right. Thank you all for watching this special edition of the Pro Wrestling Show as we dive into the NXT Takeover in your house. Like I said, I'll be watching only on Peacock. So for me being Kid Dick says so long, and we'll see you this Sunday for NXT Takeover on Peacock. See you later.